Greetings, everyone. This is Russell Rucker, and I'm back here for another constitutional talk. And today, I thought we'd talk about our vice president. Um, we're currently in the throes of an election, and there's been a lot of talk about who our candidates to pick for VP. And I think it's important to understand what the purpose of a vice president is. And so I thought I'd go to our Constitution here. And as you get into the duties of the vice president, and I'm talking about in Article 1, Section 3, it discusses the second paragraph here, Article 1, Section 3, I guess it's the fourth paragraph. The Vice President of the United States shall be President of the Senate, but shall have no vote unless they be equally tied. So if you have a split Senate and you have legislation coming through, then they become important for appearing over at the Senate to break a tie vote. This is an important function. Some of our early founders thought that the position of VP really is of a useless character. Obviously, one of the big reasons for having a vice president is in case of the death of a president. And that's spelled out a lot too. But when you get into the Electoral College and you start getting the electors elected, which is what you're actually doing. You have 50 state elections to get electors. The electors all vote at the same time in their individual states, and all those records are sent to the seat of government. Okay. So, and as we get through this section of the electors, we're now in Article 2, Section 1. Paragraph 3 begins your electoral college. And you get about halfway down. It says, votes for each, which list they shall sign and certify and transmit sealed to the seat of government of the United States. And here's where we get into the VP. Directed to the president of the Senate. And the president of the Senate is what? President of the Senate, as determined in Article 1, the Vice President of the United States shall be the President of the Senate. So the Vice President of the United States is the President of the Senate, and the President of the Senate shall, in the presence of the Senate and House of Representatives, open all certificates, and the vote shall then be counted. The person having the greatest number of votes shall be President. When we get into the later amendments, you'll see a lot of different discussion over the role of a vice president taking the place of the president in case of assassination, in case he becomes so senile he can't do his job, these kind of things, and the vice president can take over. And this is your main reason for a vice president. But a vice president is important because he's directly in the line of succession. Now, a lot of people talk about the vice president as being a heartbeat away. Yes, if the president dies, for instance, in November 1963, when President Kennedy was assassinated, and immediately Johnson was sworn in. So it goes from the president to the vice president to the Speaker of the House next. So he is directly in the line of succession. But the other important thing is his role as tiebreaker. Now, we did have a vice president in the early part of the Republic that actually died trying to fulfill his role as vice president in breaking tied votes. He took his carriage over to the house in the cold. He was very sick and too sick to be there. And he was sent back, and he died in his bed while he was actually trying so desperately to fulfill his obligation as the tiebreaker of the Senate, as president of the Senate. The Senate can choose all its officers, as the Constitution does say, but the Vice President of the United States is the president of the Senate. And that is something I think you really need to understand a little more fully, and then the role he has to play in the Electoral College. It's not just standing around waiting for the president to die. With that, I hope you have a good day. Hope you think about that a little bit, and we will catch you next week on the next Constitutional Talk. We'll talk to you folks later. Have a good day. Bye.